The second brand new Zexal Morph skill for Yuma and Astral became available today, and I'm here to tell you about it. This one is called XYZ Evolution, and it's kind of busted. You unlock it by completing the special area on the newest event, Duelist Road. If you haven't checked out the event, please do, because this skill is a must-have, and we don't know when it's gonna come back. You may be wondering, why is this skill so much more crazy than the other skill that came out? I also made a video covering the Zexal weapon transformation. Now, this skill is different, and let me read to you what it says. It activates at the beginning of your turn if your life points are at 2,000 or below. Yuma and Astral build the overlay network and Zexal Morph. So up until then, it's exactly the same as the first skill. However, this time, after transforming into Zexal, each of the following effects can be used once only. Place one XYZ change tactics face up on your field, and in addition, you can reset your life points back up to 2,000. So if you had taken your life points below 2,000 in order to activate the skill, they boost right back up to 2,000, that's amazing. The secondary effect of the skill is to return all Utopia monsters in your graveyard back into the extra deck. Now, hearing that, you might not think it's insane, but let me explain to you why that is absolutely broken. The card XYZ Change Tactics says, when a Utopia monster is XYZ summoned to your side of the field, you can pay 500 life points, draw one card. You can only control one of these cards at any given time. Now, this card does not exist in the game in any other form besides this one, and let me tell you why it's important. As I stated previously, using this skill will automatically reset your life points back to 2,000. So on the turn that you activate this skill, you XYZ summon into a Utopia, standard, simple. Then you pay 500 life points, you get to draw one card. That's pretty nice. Then you can rank up on top of your existing Utopia into Utopia Ray, pay another 500 life points, you get to draw a second card. That's pretty nice. Now, you may think that the cards are the advantage here, but what really just happened is you have just won the game. If your opponent doesn't have any back row that you need to worry about, and if they have a face-up attack position monster, then Utopia Ray is going to kill them. C39 Utopia Ray says that you can summon this card by using a Utopia that you control as the XYZ material. So like I said, you rank up on top of the existing Utopia. Then you can detach one material from this card, it gains 500 attack points, and one of your opponent's monsters loses 1,000 attack. This is a non-targeted effect, it just happens automatically, which means if you have 3 materials with this effect not being once per turn, you can gain 1,500 attack points, cause your opponents to lose 3,000 attack points, and since Utopia Ray has 2,500 attack to start with, you have now just boosted yourself up to 4,000 attack. You've most likely reduced your opponent to 0 attack from anything below 3,000, and you can go in for game. There's nothing to stop you from attacking right then and there. So this skill just gives you a free C39 Utopia Ray and 2 extra cards in your hand depending on what you drew into. That could be very, very useful. Unlike with the other skill, the ZW monsters are basically irrelevant in this equation. You could still use ZW monsters in a deck like this, but this isn't helping you to get into ZW monsters. That skill is broken too for different reasons. You can activate that skill, it gives you a free normal summon that can't be responded to, and you can XYZ summon basically as a 1-card combo because you're adding new materials to your hand every turn that you can normal summon for free. It's a long story. Anyway, we're focusing on this skill right now. This skill is a bit more technical, but just as fun. It's basically the perfect OTK strat for Utopia. Let me show you a deck idea. So, just like in the last video, I've opted to go for an on-a-map based build here to stay authentic to the character. However, please bear in mind that you can use this skill in any deck you want. You can put it in Boojins, Teller Knights, anything that makes level 4 monsters and level 4 XYZ monsters, this skill fits into perfectly. Once again, I'm using the trap card Solemn Scolding. However, it's even better using this skill because I pay 3,000 life points to negate any effect, and I get 1,000 life points back once the skill activates, because remember, it resets you back to 2,000. So that's just even freer. If you want to, you can try and use other effects. You can use Cosmic Cyclone, you can use Ties of the Brethren, and if you don't have access to any cards or effects that will reduce your life points of your own volition, you can try and use Kiteroid to dance around the life point requirement. Just know that you won't be able to use Hatronade in that build. Speaking of Hatronade, it's even better here because we are going for an OTK. We get our life points down below 2,000 and then we bounce back their back row. Now, if they have a face-up monster on the field, we go in for a game. This card is perfect. Since we're using primarily Dododo monsters, Dododo Draw is really good to help us get into that Hatronade and also to just get into more cards for more XYZ spam. Book of Moon is here, but it's not essential. You can replace this card with anything that's non-resource intensive, like a Paleozoic, for instance, right? You don't need it by any means. In fact, you might be better off running this build at 20 cards rather than 22. This doesn't contribute to the overall strategy in any way, shape, or form. I just included it because I wanted extra defense in case I struggle to get into the right range for my life points, and also in case I take my life points low enough to be KO'd and I need something to protect myself with. You can absolutely use other cards for this. Yuma and Astral is here because it can special summon a Dododo monster from your hand. Well, it can special summon any Onomat monster from your hand, 2 of them actually per turn, which is really good. Zubaba Banjo Gagaga Coat will be able to special summon itself from the hand if you control the Utopic Onomatopoeia, and it special summons Dododo monsters from the graveyard, which goes really well with Dododo Draw. Dododo Dwarf Go Glove will special summon itself from the graveyard in response to the presence of another Dododo monster on the field. Dododo Buster will be able to special summon itself as a level 4 monster if your opponent controls a monster and you don't, which is really good for just a free XYZ monster on the field. Dododo Witch, when normal or special summon, will special summon a Dododo monster from your hand to go along with itself. It's a free XYZ summon, you might as well go for it. And those are all of the cards that I added to this deck. Like I said, you don't have to use this build. This is just an example deck that I've made to showcase the skill in action. The extra deck is pretty important here, but keep in mind this is an OTK focused deck. So Abyss Dweller is here for utility to help you to lock down your opponent's graveyard until the point at which you're ready to OTK them. Roach is good because it disrupts your opponent's plays and may prevent them from mounting any offense against you whatsoever. It stops all synchro summons from coming through as long as it has material, so it's very good against Blue Eyes, Harpy Ladies, TGs, etc. Malevolent Sin is just decent removal. It's good offense as well, so you might be able to OTK with this before you actually need to use Utopia. Heroic Champion Excalibur is quite good as well because we're using quite a few warrior monsters in this deck. It can boost itself up to 4,000 attack. It's lethal in and of itself. Gagaga Samurai is decent offense. It's not essential in this deck by any means. If you have something else that you would rather put in here, feel free. Last but not least is Utopia. Well, Utopia and Utopia Ray. You actually need to run both in your deck for this build to work because unlike the other skill, this does not add Utopia or Utopia Ray to your deck. I'm running Utopia at 1 because this is an OTK strategy. It's an all or nothing build, and also when the skill activates, assuming you've already sent a Utopia to the graveyard, it will be recycled back into the extra deck. Utopia Ray is the star of this deck, but you only need 1 copy of him. Hopefully you've set yourself up to not be interrupted in any way, shape, or form, but it can be a fun way to OTK. If you have more and if you'd like to change up the numbers of the extra deck, do feel free, but I'm currently running him at 1 to make space for all of the other things that I want to do with this deck. And that's the strategy. That's how it works. I'm going to show you a duel which shows the deck doing what it does in action, and then you can try it out yourself. And if you were wondering what a Tellarknight version of this deck might look like, it could literally look like this. This is just a regular Tellarknight deck with the skill added into it. You don't need to force the activation of the skill. It can just happen naturally throughout the course of the duel. Tellarknights aren't using balance or anything anymore. There isn't really a best skill for them as far as I'm aware. So you can just use this as a skill, and if it ends up being triggered, you get a free OTK. So that's actually pretty nice. Bear in mind though, Tellarknights have quite a bit less space in their extra deck because it's an XYZ toolbox kind of deck. So you're gonna have to work on your ratios even more in that instance. I just wanted to give you an idea of what that might look like. Okay, so we're in a situation where we've got 2 monsters on the field. We have morphed and have the ability to activate the skill. Now, I took this deck onto the ladder and I had about a 60% win rate with it. However, this video has to come out today and I was struggling to find a perfectly clean clip of me using the skill specifically to achieve the OTK. So I decided to just go up against a test dummy, show you guys what it would look like in that specific situation, and then you can have at it yourselves. And that's the skill in action, folks. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.